Welcome to Rise Up in Business, the law podcast for small business owners. This podcast is designed to share important legal information without the stuffy legal jargon. I'm Tracy Milacrane. Let's get into today's episode. Hello everyone and welcome to what is, I'm sure, going to be one of my favourite episodes of this podcast. I want to talk to you today about one of my favourite topics, which is organisation. I am obsessed with being organised. It is no secret. I make no secret of it. And if you've been following me for a while and listening to this podcast for a while, you'll know both how important it is in small business to be incredibly organised, but you'll know also that I have a personal obsession with it, and I always have. So I'm so happy to be recording this episode today, and I really hope that you find this episode as inspiring as what I'm finding recording it for you. In my mind, there's no better time for me to record this episode because we are fresh into a new year, and who doesn't want to hit the ground running, being super organised? So nothing falls through the cracks, so we don't have any sleepless nights, and we don't have that sinking stomach feeling, wondering if you've missed something along the way. So I'm going to share with you today my top 3 tips on being organised. The first one is planning tomorrow today. So what I always do religiously, no matter what, is plan the next day the night before. And for me, that involves getting across my calendar, my appointments, who I'm speaking to, making sure that my due dates are on track if I've promised people draft documents or advice work or final versions of documents. Whatever it is that I've promised, I make sure that I'm on track to deliver. If I'm not, I can make some little tweaks and adjust where I can to make sure I can honour those promises. What that means is when I shut down and I step away from my computer for the evening, I know what to expect tomorrow, and I don't have a sinking feeling in my stomach worrying about if I've missed something or if something may fall through the cracks. This habit for me started earlier on in my litigation career, and I would often find myself at night time going over in my head submissions for court the next day or a conference I might have with a client or a barrister, and I would wonder, oh my gosh, have I done all the things I was supposed to do? Is this submission enough? Have I missed something? It happened all the time for years, and I really wanted to move away from that, but I just didn't know how. It might seem obvious now, and perhaps if you already do this, then of course it's obvious to you. But to me at the time, being in the thick of it, I just couldn't see the forest for the trees, and I didn't know what the antidote was to feeling this way. Fast forward several years, and I learnt the value in planning for the next day the night before. Once I started doing that, I felt a real shift. And I felt a shift within myself, and there was a shift in my day. I realised I was setting myself up for success by starting the day calm and measured and focused. Very rarely was it reactive unless somebody served us with papers overnight or something like that we had to jump on really quickly, of course, but it wasn't reactive in the context of my workflow and my workspace. Those skills and that approach are completely transferable to any other workplace or working environment, and certainly to this business model. I love nothing more than walking away from my computer at the end of the day, knowing that I am set and ready to go for smooth sailing tomorrow. I should say, when I say smooth sailing, I mean as best as we can. There will always be unexpected things that pop up, and we can't help that. I'm not suggesting we should even try. But things that are within our control ought to be well prepared and best positioned, in my view. And so planning for the next day, the day before, is part of that. So I walk away, I've got crystal clear clarity, what's expected from me tomorrow, what I'm doing tomorrow, and then I don't think about it again until I get up the next morning. I've had my morning routine, I've had space for that, which always involves some quiet time, some movement and some journaling before I even think about opening my inbox to see what's landed overnight. But I also know that whatever comes in overnight, I can handle, and I'll have space because everything else is just as it should be. Oh, for me, there's no better feeling. That's my first big number 1 top tip on getting organised in your business. My second one is workflow management. For me, I use Monday.com. I know other clients and businesses use Asana, others use variations of CRMs. For me, Monday.com suits my business perfectly, and it allows each of my team to see boards that are relevant to them, manage tasks and projects that they're involved in, and it allows me to have complete confidence that nothing's falling through the gaps. You can see a theme here, can't you? I'm not obsessed with control by any means, but what this framework does is it sets me up for certainty to the extent that I can, with a level of fluidity and flexibility that is vital for my sanity. I'm quite sure that if I was rigid, I wouldn't be delivering this podcast to you with such enthusiasm week in and week out. There's a lot of fluidity and flexibility in my week and my day, but that's only made possible by the planning that I'm able to do and by being as organised as I am, because I know I'm meeting my obligations, I'm able to honour my promises, and that's really important. What Monday.com does is that it allows me to see any particular board at any particular time in different views, so I can see what's expected of me today, tomorrow, this week, this month. Similarly for my team, I can see the status of our projects, I can see due dates for all that we're working on, and a big part of that is my client work, so that when I talk to clients early on in our relationship or early on in a new project, I'm able to offer realistic time estimates for when they can expect their work to be back to them in draft or back to them in final, so that they know. And I'm able to monitor that to make sure that I'm not falling behind and to make sure that things don't fall through the gaps. That to me is really important. The third tip I have, last but not least by any means, is to develop highly tailored processes and systems for your business. For me, we have processes and systems in place which have been developed and refined over almost 4 years. We have those in place right from initial contact/discovery calls, or a client reaching out to me in DMs or emails. There is a process and system for managing that contact right through to offboarding once we have completed work and we've delivered. So every step of the way is part of our processes and systems that have been tailored unique for this business. This is how we manage issuing proposals, our cost disclosures, invoices, draft documents, client contact. Do I need a call? Do I need information before I can issue those drafts? Has the client booked in for their Zoom session so we can discuss these documents, so we can discuss this advice? Has the strategy session been booked? Have we got the confirmation sent? Have they got their finals? What about offboarding? Do they know how to reach us afterwards? Following up, all of those things. That's all the tip of the iceberg, but all of those things are vital to me in my business to be able to deliver the highest level of client service that I possibly can. And I just wouldn't be able to do that consistently if it wasn't for our highly developed and tailored processes and systems. What I would like to say here is that these things evolve with you and your business over time, as they should. And no two businesses are the same. So what works for one business won't work for another. So don't feel bad when you're talking to somebody about how they onboard or how they deliver or how they offboard. Don't feel bad if that's not how you do it. And these processes and systems are unique to your business, as they should be. I do a lot of work with my small business clients, supporting that development of those processes and systems in line with the legal documents that are needed, so we can make sure that not only are those processes and systems developed seamlessly for the business, but the business is complying with its legal obligations, it's managing its client expectations, and it's delivering consistent with what it has promised to deliver in the documentation that we usually draft. So there's a lot to be said for processes and systems, and I can honestly, hand on heart, say that I would not be able to operate my business the way that I do, but for my highly tailored processes and systems that work for me. If this is resonating with you, and if you're thinking, gosh, Tracy, now would be a really fabulous time for us to have a chat so I can talk to you about my processes and systems, either developing new ones or having a chat about your existing ones, please feel free to reach out via the website and book in for a free chat. That's what I'm here for. And as you can tell already, I love nothing more than a good old chat about organisation and processes and systems. And I honestly believe that if you do it well, You are setting your business up for success right from the first point of contact with your clients. I hope you have enjoyed this episode. I hope you've enjoyed it as much as I have enjoyed delivering it to you. Now remember, my takeaways for my top 3 tips for being super organised in your business. Plan tomorrow the day before. Use a workflow platform that works for you. We use monday.com. And have highly developed and tailored processes and systems in place that work for your business. As always, thank you so much for listening. I love receiving your feedback, so please do reach out, let me know what you think. I would love to know whether any of those resonate with you, or indeed if you have other top tips for your organisation in your business, I would love to know. Thanks so much for listening. I'll catch you next time.